Today's video is about parallel lines, transversals, and angle pairs. Parallel lines are coplanar lines that never intersect. Arrows are used to indicate that the lines are parallel. You can see those arrows here and here. The symbolic notation for parallel lines. If I wanted to say that line AB is perpendicular to line CD, I could write that like this. AB with a line on top is perpendicular to line CD. Just like that. Parallel planes are planes that never intersect. Symbolic notation of this would be plane J is parallel to plane K. Skew lines are non-coplanar lines that never intersect. Examples of these might include PS and VR. Another example could be TW and UQ. And a third example could be PT, QR. All three pairs of these lines will never intersect, but they're not parallel. They are just on different planes. Name all segments parallel to AE. So here is AE. If we look at our picture, this line is parallel, this one is parallel, and this one is parallel. They all run the same direction. So lines DH, GC, and FB are all parallel to segment AE. Give two examples of parallel planes. So if I wanted to say that this plane is parallel to this plane, I could do that by saying plane EAD and plane FBC. You can use any 3 points from the plane that you're trying to describe. Another example could be these two planes. So plane HGF and plane ADC. Name all segments skew to GH. So this is GH. If we want to talk about segments that are skew, that means they will never intersect. But they can't be parallel. So EF is parallel, so that doesn't work. BA is parallel, doesn't work. CD is parallel, so that doesn't work. But if we look at this line and this line, they will never intersect with GH, but they're also not parallel. And the same applies to this line and this line. So the segments that are skewed to GH are EA, AD, FB, and BC. Example 2, name all segments parallel to JK. So JK is here. The only parallel segment is OP. Name all segments parallel to NS. This is NS. So let's look at what's parallel to that one. MR is parallel. LQ is parallel. KP and JO. All of these lines are parallel to NS. Name a plane parallel to plane JKL. So JKL represents this plane. The plane that would be parallel is this plane back here. So I can choose any 3 letters from that plane to identify it. So I'm going to call that plane SRQ. Now we want to name 4 segments that are skew to RQ. So when we look at these, there are several that are correct. So ones that we can't do, this one intersects, this one intersects. These are all on the same plane. And then this one is also on the same plane if we are talking about this plane here. Okay, so none of those lines are an option. But every other line in this picture is skew to RQ. So we can use any of those other lines. So I'm going to use JO, JK, JN, and PK. In the next section, we're going to talk about transversals. A transversal is a line that intersects 2 or more lines. In this example, the transversal is line T. Now we're going to talk about angle pairs that are formed by a transversal. Corresponding angles are angles that are in corresponding positions. So if we look at our picture, angles 1 and 5 are corresponding. Angles 2 and 6 are corresponding. So we're going to list all of the pairs of corresponding angles. That will be angle 1 and angle 5, angle 2 and angle 6, angle 3 and angle 7, and angle 4 and angle 8. All 4 of those are pairs of corresponding angles. Alternate interior angles. The word alternate means opposite. So these are on opposite sides of the transversal. Remember that the transversal is the one line that crosses the other 2. So these will be on opposite sides of the transversal, and then interior means inside. So these are going to be on the inside of the 2 other lines. So if they have to be interior angles, we're only talking about these. And if they're alternate, that means on opposite sides. So angles 3 and 5 would be one example of alternate interior angles. Angles 4 and 6 would be the other. Now for alternate exterior, if we're saying exterior, we only care about the ones on the outside of the 2 lines. And if we're saying alternate, then we are discussing ones on opposite sides of the transversal. So angle 1 and angle 7 would be alternate exterior angles. Angle 2 and angle 8 would also be alternate exterior angles. Consecutive interior angles are going to be interior angles that are on the same side of the transversal. So this will be angle 3 and angle 6, and angle 4 and angle 5. And finally, we want consecutive exterior. So exterior means only the outside angles. Consecutive means same side. So this is going to be angle 1 and angle 8, and angle 2 and angle 7. All right, example 3, part A, angle 1 and angle 8. That's this one and this one. So first of all, we should ask ourselves, are they corresponding? Are they in corresponding positions? And the answer is no. 1 and 3 would be corresponding, or 6 and 8 would be corresponding, but 1 and 8 are not in corresponding positions. Then we want to ask ourselves, are they alternate or consecutive? So are they on the same or the opposite sides? These are on opposite sides. So we are going to say alternate We know that's the first part of our answer. Then we choose interior or exterior. So are they inside these two lines or outside? And they are outside those lines, so that is exterior. All right, part B says angles 2 and 3. 2 and 3. These are not corresponding. We're always going to check that first. And since they're not corresponding, we choose, are they alternate or consecutive? These are consecutive because they are on the same side of the transversal. And then they are interior because they are inside the other two lines. Angle 5 and angle 7, these are corresponding angles because they are both the lower left angle in their section. Angles 2 and 7. Okay, these are on opposite sides of the transversal, so that makes them alternate. And they are inside the other two lines, making them interior angles. Angles 1 and 3, these are corresponding because they are in the same position respective to each other. All right, angle 5 and angle 8. They are on the same side of the transversal, so these are consecutive. And then they are on the outside of the other two lines, so they are exterior. For number 4, I want you to do this on your own, so you should pause the video and try these. But a couple of tips I want to give you first. Notice there are 4 lines in number 4. Normally, we're used to seeing 1, 2, 3 lines. So the relationships we've talked about only work with groups of 3 lines that make 4 angles, okay? If we, or not 4 angles, 8 angles, I apologize. So if we are looking at angles 1 and 16, we have to use 1, 2, 3, 4 lines to make those 2 angles. So we did not learn about any relationships that use 4 lines. So 1 and 16 would have none. They would have no relationship. However, when we're looking at ones like part A, angle 5 and angle 13, 5 and 13, those 2 are on only 3 lines. We can completely disregard this line whenever we look at that problem and try to decide what that angle pair is. If you can't cancel a line for a problem, then automatically your answer should be none. So go ahead and try these problems and then come back to the video and press play to see the answers and check your work.